Most improved team or most improved player in the AFC South?
Ooh, I'm going to go most improved team. I think if the baseline's really low, I think the Texans do see some improvements, but also sabotage factor is maybe those improvements don't come until next season. See, I think the same thing goes for the Indianapolis Colts, because what do we expect from Anthony Richardson? At some point, he's going to be a good quarterback. Just don't know if this is the year. So I'm going to go with the Titans here. Their end to the season last year could not have gone any worse. They ended the season with 7 straight losses, and also Ryan Tannehill was not healthy. I'm not sure if there's a bigger drop-off. Well, maybe there is, but still a huge drop-off between Ryan Tannehill and Malik Willis. Do you remember those games in which Malik Willis threw for 85 yards in the entire game? So if Ryan Tannehill can stay healthy, the Titans at least have a shot to not go 0-7 in the final 7 games of the season. So I think some improvement is due.
I think you are right about that, and I'm with you on the Texans. Look, it's all relative. You're not saying, I think the Texans are going to make the playoffs. That's not going to happen, but I do think that with DeMeco Ryans, and we talked with John Lopez yesterday from Sports Radio 610 in Houston, does an awesome job down there, and by the way, he's sending us barbecue sauce. I'm so excited about that.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Thank you, buddy. DeMeco Ryans adds stability to this franchise, and he's going to add and create a culture, and culture is thrown around all the time. When you're talking about the Texans, you're talking about a lack of culture. That's what happens when you have 4 head coaches in 5 years. So I think we will see some market improvement from the Texans, and of course, C.J. Stroud, Will Anderson Jr. will help them as well. Finally, Chelsa, most dramatic team in the AFC South, who would it be?
Has to be the Colts, right? Didn't we start this segment by talking about Jim Irsay transporting whales? That's not even the craziest thing and most dramatic thing about this team. It's got to be the volatility of their young quarterback. Anthony Richardson is either going to be like terrible and he can't complete a pass because you look at his college stats, completion percentage, 53%? And that is in the college ranks where the defenses are not as good. Or you have, the intangibles and the measurables that are off the charts. He's a big, strong, fast runner. So he could be really terrible or he could be amazing and the rookie of the year. So got to be the Colts here.
I am with you. I want to see how this Jonathan Taylor, Jim Irsay drama ends up working out. And it's just one thing after another. What I love about Indy fans is that, remember yesterday we were talking about the number of tweets and the number of fans that were super positive about their team. And Colts fans were, I think, 11th overall. With all of this drama and the fact that they're not going to be good this season, Colts fans still remaining positive. Which team do you believe helped itself the most at the trade deadline?
I think most people would tell you the Rangers. I could put them in my top 2 or 3 for sure. They picked up 4 pitchers over the past month. But for me, it's the other team in that division. It's the Houston Astros. So Justin Verlander is a better pitcher than Max Scherzer this year. He has been more consistent when he's been on the mound. His stuff has played up more than Scherzer, right? Those are 2 of the best pitchers of our generation, 2 Hall of Famers. Yeah. So they acquire JV after the Rangers acquire Max. And Kendall Graveman for their bullpen is immediately a guy that you can put in high leverage spots. He's already been there before. So even though the Rangers picked up 4 pitchers and the Astros picked up 2, I like the quality of what the Astros picked up, and they didn't need to pick up as much on the pitching side. And I think their offense is going to be much better the last couple months with Yordan Alvarez back. He is by far, in my mind, their best and most dangerous hitter. He's maybe the most clutch hitter in the whole game. So I'll give it to Houston. I think they take the crown for this.
Yeah, ask the Seattle Mariners what they think about Yordan Alvarez ending their season last year. God, they probably hate that guy. Almost rolling my eyes at the Astros because it just feels like every year they make some move. What do you know? They're going to be in the ALCS again. It feels like every single season. But something I have trouble communicating to people who are kind of casually involved in baseball is that winning in the postseason is not the same thing as winning in the regular season. Your roster has to be a touch different. You have to have those big aces anchoring your rotation. So are you looking at some of these teams who are doing well in the regular season right now and saying, yeah, they're good right now, but when the postseason rolls along, I'm not sure if they have the roster? Because I think that's probably the biggest question mark with maybe the Orioles.
You know, you read my mind, Chelsea. That I swear I was going to bring up the Orioles. That is a perfect example of a team that has played brilliant baseball for most of the year, and they have done almost nothing to supplement their roster, not just at this trade deadline, but also in the offseason. Now, Jack Flaherty looked awesome yesterday. That's great. Nice
Hmm.
addition for sure, and they need that help. But they needed to do more, in my mind, especially on the
Mm.
pitching front, because all of their starters, in my mind, have outperformed expectations. These are not highly touted guys, most of them. They've done a great job with their pitching department developing them. And then also, most of them, I think, are going to tire down the stretch because they haven't been there before. It's not like they didn't bring in many guys where they're like, oh, they've been there before. They've pitched a full season. They're not going way over their career high in innings. No, everybody's got the same story there. And I think they're aware of that. And I think they just ignored it because they didn't want to pay guys for the last couple months of the year and they didn't want to give up much in terms of their prospect capital. So yes, that's why when I'm looking at that list, I know the Orioles are ahead of the Blue Jays in terms of World Series favorite. I definitely think I'd rather go on the Blue Jays end. So that's a great example of a team that I would be concerned about. I also would like to mention, because you mentioned it real quick, the Seattle Mariners. What a disappointment in my
God.
mind, because we're talking to
Yeah.
Paul Sewald. We're talking to Paul today on Foul
Ah.
Territory.
Oh, okay.
He's one of the regulars on the show. He's one of the best relievers in the sport, and they traded him away. They gave up on their team so quickly. And in my mind, Chelsea, Seattle is actually the opposite of what you're talking about. I think that they would be a great postseason team because they have a really stacked pitching rotation and they
Hmm.
have some pretty good depth in their bullpen, which they obviously just took a piece out of. I know they got some major league talent back that can help them on offense, but I think that they're the kind of team that can beat you to death with their pitching depth the last couple months of the season, where a lot of other teams, their pitching's tiring out. I think Seattle would have gone on a nice run the last couple months. They still might. I just think it sucks to trade your
Yeah.
closer away. To me, that was the wrong message to send to your clubhouse. And they did the same thing 2 years ago when they traded Kendall Graveman away to the Astros. So terrible
Hmm.
move. I've slammed them the whole time for it. It's going to bite them in the ass at some point, and we're going to talk to Paul about it later.
All right, throw up the Miami Marlin. This guy, absolutely terrifying. Holy jeez, look
Ooh.
at this cat. You know what this guy looks like? You know those fish that occasionally just show up on the shores in Japan and they're like, well, a
Yeah.
tsunami's coming because this freak fish just showed up. That's what this looks like.
Ugh. Why does it have so many teeth? Do
I don't
marlins have
know.
this many teeth that are that pearly white? Like, how, if you counted those teeth, there's at least 100.
Why do so many of these mascots have veneers?
Right?
Is that part of the program? I mean, this guy is. If I were a kid and I saw this thing, this is like half dinosaur, half fish, half alien.
Oh, I know what it
Uh,
looks like. Do you remember that show? I think it was called The Dinosaurs, where they had like the little baby that said, I'm the baby. Do you know what I'm talking about? It was
yeah,
like, it
yeah.
looked like this, and there were dinosaurs, and it was a primetime TV show. It was weird, but I
I
liked it.
remember that. I liked
Was
that.
it
It was
called The
popular for a
Dinosaurs?
while. I think it might have
The
been.
Dinosaurs.
I know exactly what you're talking about. All right, you Bing that. You Google that. Matt, what else we got? Surprises. Gee, who is this? I don't even know who this is. Is this a red? No, who is this? What in the world?
Oh, that looks like a mop.
It's the
A
Gnats?
dirty mop.
Oh, this guy is a Swiffer. He's a walking Swiffer. How many floors has he
But
cleaned with his
with the
face?
purge. This looks
Oh,
like a horror character, doesn't it? Like this would be the
yes.
next horror villain in like the Return of Saw or whatever. Like, how does he not have any eyes? Like the eyes are just black.
Yeah. Eyes of
Been
death.
hanging out
He's
with
only
Brooks
got a few
Koepka.
teeth. Seriously. He looks a little homeless, I have to say. He has a few teeth. Look, well, I count 1, 2, 3
He
teeth.
needs those
He's,
veneers. How come he didn't get the veneers?
yeah. Every other mascot got beautiful veneers, recent trips to the dentist. They were like, hey, for the Nats mascot, get some pliers in there and pull a few teeth out.